Okay.
Okay, hello, welcome, final three. Tonight we are doing the rites of passage, where you guys are going to be able to look back at all of the players this season that you voted out or helped to vote out, and just kind of reflect on them, give them love, talk about them in, a game way, whatever you want. The one rule is don't be assholes, don't be jerks, don't say, "Oh my God, Megan, who got 10th place, you suck, and you're the worst person in the world," right?
Oh,
We're not
we're
gonna
not
make
allowed
it
to say
personal.
that.
No,
If we're
you
not
cannot
say
you
that, I
cannot
have
make
to
it
leave.
personal.
If
To
we
the
have, if
game.
we're not allowed to say shit like that, I have to leave. I'm sorry. Have fun, ladies. Enjoy.
Alrighty, so Alex is now the last juror. Congrats, Kat and Tamara. It's the secret final too.
Yeah.
Yes, and I do have a cute little PowerPoint that I am gonna show for you guys to go through each person. Second rule. I'm sorry, I lied. There is a second rule. Make sure you give each other time to talk, give each person their time to talk about the person as much as they want or as little as they want. Once all three of you are done, I will go to the next person. Okay?
Easy peasy.
Alrighty. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Go to the slideshow.
Can you
You
see
can see
our screen? Also, Tamara, you look amazing. Kat, you look amazing. I'm so
Thank
excited.
you.
Thank you.
This is gonna be
Thank
fun.
you. Took me to Shit, I need to pour another drink. Yeah.
Alrighty, guys.
When
Are
I
you
get
ready? Libby.
Yep.
Lemon. Come here, Lemon. Where's your collar?
Hi, Jeremy. Alrighty, sorry. Libby jumped on my computer. Are you guys ready? Do you guys want to get started?
Yes.
I'm fine getting started if you're ready to get started, Meg. I'm
Okay. This is gonna be super fun. All right. So first up, first boot of the game, we have 20th placer Paige. Take it away, guys.
Period. Oh my gosh, I loved her. For like the 1 second that she was here in this game, I just knew that she was Patty, an icon, a legend in the making. And it's unfortunate that we are both in the sex work industry. I'm a cam girl, she's a lady of the night. I thought we could connect with each other. But that girl just said like, oh hey, I have to be back, guys, and never shows up, never competes in the challenge, just is completely invisible, completely inactive. Uh, that's why she had to go at the first. It was so easy. Like, thank you, Paige, for making the first round easy.
Yes. I'm gonna piggyback off of Tamara. Yes. Paige made it super freaking easy, but gotta love her. Her video was pretty iconic. I didn't really know entirely what to think of it, but I thought she was very interesting. And had she actually participated, I think we would have had some fun. Especially because the way Tamara and I were, we wanted to be Anyway, enough said. I'm not going to go any further than that. Paige, you're awesome. I wish you had actually participated.
I will go ahead and jump in and say when I was watching everyone's intro videos, Paige's, without question, even though I was never on a tribe with her, Paige's was zero question top 3 for me. I was like, I'm sorry, did she just say she loves babies and drinking right on top of each other? This is clearly an absolute icon, an absolute legend, dare I say goddess amongst mortals, amongst everything. So I was like, not only do I hope I'm on a tribe with her, which sadly did not happen, but I was just like, if they vote her out, so help me God, there will be penance, and I don't even know what that means. Being said, I thought Paige was absolutely earthing. And when I saw that she was the first person voted out, I was absolutely devastated because her video made me smile and made me laugh so much. I absolutely loved it. So sad that she left early. I feel like maybe had she not, she would have been a contender because I would have absolutely loved to work with her because she cracked me up.
Mm-hmm.
Alrighty. Any final comments on Miss Paige?
Miss Paige, you are a legend. You are an icon. You are a deity. Thank you for gracing us with your presence, however briefly. You're an icon. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Exactly. Enough said on that one.
Period.
Alrighty, next up we have 19th placer Luis.
Wow.
Alex, take the lead on this one.
I will say, if there was ever anyone that was going to challenge Tamara for like trade of the season, most attractive of the season, Luis was quite attractive. I definitely wanted to build a connection with Luis, but he seemed really preoccupied. The game started Pride weekend is he in San Diego? How long have we been in this game? It feels like 7 years. So I honestly wanted to work with Luis, but he was really not particularly committed to communicating with people on original Sahin. So not only was it a unanimous vote from the voting aspect for people voting for him, he also apparently either voted for himself or just chose not to vote, which felt appropriate for him to leave in 19. So Luis, you are gorgeous. You are absolutely a male that many of the gay men in this cast would probably like to chat up, if not hit up after the game. Congratulations on being pretty. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for being an early boot so that awkward players like myself could last longer. Mwah, thank you.
I have to. Oh, Tamara, did you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
I was just saying yes to what Alex said.
Okay. I watched his intro video yesterday, and I'm so disappointed that he didn't show up, because had I met him, I probably would have liked him. The fact that he's from San Diego, like, impresses me, because I love San Diego. I used to go there all the time. So, I'm really bummed out that he didn't show up for the game. However, it's totally fine. I don't know anything else about him other than I really loved his intro video.
Yeah, I can't really pinpoint anything particularly interesting that I know about Alex other than that I thought he was cute. So I thought maybe like we could have like a little showmance together going into the season had he like decided to participate and last longer in the game, and that just didn't happen. So yeah, unfortunately, Luis, you just had to be inactive. Sayonara.
Alrighty, Luis, also known as Alex. Okay, next up is 18th placer Kendall, Miss Kendall.
Kendall. Oh my God. Can I start this one, please?
Yes.
She excited me a little bit, because she seemed so excited from the get-go. Like, when she got on the night one call, she seemed so gung-ho to play. She was ready to play. She seemed so excited. So it really, really, really bummed me out that she quit, because Tamara and I would have loved to have her on our side. I'm not going to speak for Tamara. I'm speaking for myself. She as a returning player would have been so much fun to work with in this game. So it really, really saddened me that she quit. I still don't understand the whole dynamics of that, but I'm really super bummed that she had to leave the game. I understand everybody has their personal reasons, but would have loved to work with her. We needed more women in this cast, obviously. But, Kendall, love you. It was a missed opportunity.
Just to jump off what Kat mentioned, yes, I wanted to work with Kendall so bad because she seemed super cool and super quirky right from the get-go. Then, like, after night one, the vibe immediately shifted. I thought, what was going on? Is she purposely not being active? Turns out it was true. She didn't participate in the challenge. She also self-voted at the page vote out. And it sucks because I met her 2 years ago on this other org that we played, but never got to meet her because she was on this opposing starting tribe. Then when we swapped on opposite tribes. So I never got to meet her until this game. And the fact that I'm yet to have gotten on a call with her is just funny to me, but I understand that sometimes life gets in the way, and mental health is really important, and it's important to take care of yourself, because these orgs can be mentally and emotionally draining.
Well said, Tamara.
I would say my impression of Kendall mostly came from the night one call where all of us were together, and Kendall immediately stood out to me just because Kendall has either a lot of enthusiasm or wanted to display a lot of enthusiasm, whether she had it or not. But she, for me, anytime someone said anything, when they dropped information, she was just very, huh? What? And I was like, oh my God, I want to work with her because she's expressive and I'm expressive. So for me, I very much was just like, I am here for a gorgeous, gorgeous gal who like reacts to things so that I didn't have to feel like the only one. Once she left, I was like, I'm apparently the only one who responds with facial expressions. So I love Kendall, even though I never got to be on a drive with her. And then when I found out not only was she living in Utah, but also gay, I was like, you have a life story that I cannot fully align with or connect or relate to, but I know you and I have similar experiences because God knows Utah is particularly religious. I grew up in a religious household. I wanted to connect and talk with Kendall. And to me, one of my top 3 disappointments of the season is that we never got to do so. So, Kendall, you are amazing. I never got to talk to you ever, but you are someone that just from your energy and your aura, I absolutely would love to at some point in the future get to talk to you, get to know. Mwah. Gorgeous, icon, legend.
Yes, and I will say that she joined my group.
Yay.
Yeah.
Yes, there's hope.
On to the next.
Alrighty, next up we have
God damn it.
Anthony!
Oh my gosh, I loved Anthony so much. Like, I literally wanted to go so far with him, but unfortunately, Anthony, he didn't connect well with the tribe as much as I did. So that's why he got targeted over Alfie during the round that he left. And it saddened me because I loved talking to Anthony. I loved our group calls together. I loved just talking about sharing experiences, being Black, being biracial with Anthony. And I'm just sad, but I guess to me, I got the impression that maybe he was more of a fan of Big Brother than Survivor, because he would always talk about how he was watching Big Brother live streams when the season started to air. And I thought it was just really charming. I think that he has a lot of potential to go far in these games. Maybe if he puts in more time to be active and more time to get to know the other players, or maybe he thrives better in a Big Brother org more so than Survivor orgs. And I think that he's just a lovely human being, so iconic. And I'm glad that he fought on TikTok.
Yes, Anthony, better known as Seven with the butterflies. I freaking love him. I wish he had been more active. I would have loved to work with him. I think we would have had fun together, but we never talked game, and it was really difficult to build a bond with him that would have lasted, but he was cool as shit. And you know what? He was a returning player, and he definitely was cool in my eyes. I would have loved to get more time with him. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but I swear if we're ever playing together again in the future, he would be a fun person to ally with.
Actually, I have no. Yeah, Anthony and I never, obviously, we were never on the same tribe. From what I gathered, he was a very cool dude. And yeah, given the opportunity, I would love to link up with him and just be like, what up, Triumph, buddy? What's happening? So yeah, and that didn't happen this game, but I would love to see it happen in the future because from what I heard, he's a pretty solid, rock solid dude.
Mm-hmm.
Period. Love you, Anthony.
Slay.
Alrighty, next up we have Joelle.
Joelle! Oh my God.
Aww.
Go ahead, Alex.
So this one's actually really that Joelle's elimination really cut deep, just because for me, I was that person where I was like, I don't know exactly how I'm fitting in with this tribe. So, I was like, let me go balls to the wall, pardon the expression, and try and help out in this challenge and get as many points as we possibly can. And Joelle really was committed to helping. She helped organize things, she helped keep track of things. So when her name started coming up, I was like, are y'all serious? Really? Because I thought Joelle was phenomenal. I absolutely enjoyed talking to her. She had just moved from, I don't want to say Minnesota. It could have been Minnesota, Milwaukee, Ohio. I forget. And she was moving to Texas. And my initial reaction was, did you lose a bet? Because why would you move to Texas? But she's going for a teaching gig. And as much effort as she put into the scavenger hunt challenge, to me, she was not an option for me, but she was still an option for a handful of people. So her giving up her vote in the scavenger hunt is ultimately what led to her leaving. And to me, that really sucked. I really enjoyed Joelle. I hated seeing her go. She was not the most socially aware. I will grant that to the people that did want to vote for her. But I thought she was a rock star. I thought she was fabulous. Joelle, all the best to you. I think you're amazing. Thank you for being a part of this experience. And thank you for our conversations. You were lovely.
Joelle, I only know because we played on the same org, albeit 2 different seasons. But I have talked to her. She is pretty iconic. She was the Battle Bat Queen from the org that I played with on the very next season after hers. And I know for a fact she is a player. She was amazing. She, all the way to the end after being voted out early in the game. And she is somebody that would absolutely play with in the future if all things were aligned. I hate that I didn't get to see her in this game because from what I know of her, she's an amazing player and she is so fun to work with. So, and again, another missed opportunity with her.
Yeah, I saw so much potential in her, especially coming from her intro video. She just seemed to be really exuberant and lively and wasn't afraid to speak her mind at any minute, any second, any time of the day. So it's really unfortunate to see that she was an early boot in a pretty brutal vote out. It was a 3-3-2, then a 4-2 at the revote that happened during the vote out. And I'm just really sad that I never got the chance to meet her. But based on what y'all know about her, she seems very lovely to be around. Maybe in the future game, I think that we could kiki. But for now, I think it's good that maybe players like Joelle didn't come super far into this because they just have the potential to go super far.
Okay, next up, 15th place is Alfie.
Oh, Alfie, my British lover. Unfortunately, he had to go. Without getting too deep into the mechanics, we did work together, and I did contemplate saving him the round that he left. Unfortunately, he decided to go haywire, blabbing names to Andrew, to Jason, to Esteban, trying to vote out Kat, trying to vote out Jason, putting a vote on Jason. That round was chaotic. And the fact that I had to basically lie to him and say that, oh, I think you're great. I think we would go so far together. Unfortunately, his messiness was his downfall. And I think it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy in his intro video where he was like, oh yeah, I'm not afraid to backstab these bitches. And I thought like, yo, yo, you're saying that on your intro video puts a target on your back. And I think that's what happened right from the get-go. Alfie had a target on his back since the round Anthony left and just couldn't get off of it when we lost the challenge again. So yeah. Love you though, Alfie. I can't hopefully we can get to talk after the season ends and I can give you some clarity as to why I had to vote you out.
Yeah, Alfie, we had a couple conversations. He is a feisty little Brit. I will say, I did a confessional about him at one point, but I actually really liked Alfie. Had he not gone off the deep end, we would have been fine. But because he decided to throw my name out among other names out, he had to go. He caused way too much chaos, but I generally love the guy. If the situation was different, we probably would have gotten along better. But yes, as Tamara said, he definitely caused a lot of chaos. But I do love the guy, and I hope, hope, hope we can talk after the season's over.
My impression of Alfie's one of the only, I didn't go back and rewatch the intro videos, but I specifically remember watching Alfie's video when the season started and going, oh my God, this is gonna win if nobody like stops him in his tracks. And I think Alfie fell under the same curse that I fell under. I didn't realize that our intro videos are going to be seen by the entire cast, which is fine. But the fact that he was just like, oh yeah, I'm willing to backstab people, I'm X, Y, and Z. I was like, holy shit, I don't want to go against this person. I don't want this person on my tribe because God knows the British, the Australians, and the New Zealanders are all charming as hell and very, very like, you know, people from the US just have absolutely no defenses to that level of charm. So I was just like, ooh, I hope he's not on my tribe. Thankfully, he wasn't. And I was just like, ooh, I hope they take him out so I don't have to. And thankfully, y'all did. So, Alfie, I imagine you probably would have been one had you made it to the merge. You would have burned some shit to the ground. And as amazing as that would have been to watch, I'm very glad that I did not have to see that for myself. I can tell that you would have been a contender. So I'm not mad that you got voted out. All the best. We never got to meet. I'm sure you're a lovely person. But man, your intro video made me go, I'm not messing with that queen because I don't want to get in the crossfire. So all the love, all the respect. I'm not trying to mess with her. And thank God I didn't have to.
And with that, next up is 14th place, our first post-swap boot, Caitlin. So all of you at one point met Caitlin now. So let's hear what you have to say.
Alex, you start.
I'm happy to lead. So Caitlin, from the intro videos, Caitlin out of everybody, out of all 20 videos, Caitlin for me was one of the top 3. I was very, very enamored with her. I loved her video. There are aspects of her video where I was like, I think she forgot what she intended to say. That being said, I still loved her video. On the night 1 call with Saheen, I thought she was absolutely phenomenal. I loved the way she carried herself. I loved the way she presented herself. I was like, I really want to work with her. And sadly, between her being on the East Coast, me being on the West Coast, and me working nights, we didn't really have much opportunity to get on the same page until the swap. And I just think the world of Caitlin. I know that some of my allies from Saheen also thought she was amazing. I truly believe she was a victim of circumstance. I absolutely adored getting to know her. I really think had she not been part of the swap, she really could have gone much farther in the game. So Caitlin, I think the world of you. Should you and I ever happen to find ourselves in another game, I would be more than honored to reconnect, communicate, work with you. I think you're absolutely fabulous. It was unfortunate that we were in a numbers minority together because for me, I was just like, I'm like, it's either you, Tyler, or me. So what happens now? And that was the unfortunate truth of the scenario that we or the of the cards that we were dealt. It was unfortunate. I think Caitlyn is an absolute icon. If there is an opportunity for previous players to play in a future season, whether all-stars or otherwise, Caitlyn is 120% someone I would endorse. She was lovely. She was fabulous. Absolutely a fighter. I think she is absolutely great. Nothing but positive things to say about Caitlyn. Her contributions to the music video challenge, that upside down hairbrush. Oh my God. Iconic. Absolutely iconic. It took me entirely too long to realize that it was an upside down hairbrush because I was like, what is she talking into? I'm so confused. Everything that she did, gorgeous, smart, strategic, nothing but positive things to say. Caitlyn, thank you so much for being a part of this experience. You're wonderful. Can't wait to hopefully reconnect at some point once this is all over. Sorry, that was so long.
No, I think that you went off and told how you really admired and respected Caitlyn as an individual. I believe that everything you said was true. I only known her for a couple of days before voting her out. She was so lovely, and unfortunately, she was also very threatening in our game dynamics. Swapping in the majority with Kat, with Jason, with Esteban, the four of us knew that we weren't going to turn on each other because we had no reason to. We all trusted each other. We all wanted to work together. It strategically, it made sense. And Caitlyn was the first victim of the Canavar crossfire. And during New Canavar, unfortunately, I believe Caitlyn otherwise is a phenomenal player who, like Alex said, was a victim of circumstance. It's unfortunate to say because I loved working with her. I love like how I just love meeting other women in this game. And it sucks that to have to vote out another woman for the sake of bettering our game. It sucks, but it was necessary. But I hope that in the future game, if we ever to meet up, I have no problem. If I was in a swap situation and she was in the majority and she wanted to take me out, I have no qualms about that. That's just how the game is. And I just think that she was really sweet, really charming. She's just, I love her camera quality. She has one of the best camera setups I have ever seen in an entirety of orgs. Yeah, she's just that girl. She's that girl. And hopefully we can meet in a future game. But yeah, love her. Pretty cool person, cute human being.
I agree. What's cool about Caitlyn is we did have a day one conversation, and we did connect a little bit, but unfortunately, the day of the vote, I did not hear from her. Had I heard from her, I would have probably at least been a little bit open-minded, but she was a force to be reckoned with for sure. Watching her intro video, I was really impressed by a few things. Number one, she's married, just like me. And I think she's married.
She is married.
Okay, thank you. I was pretty sure, but we were both married. So we had that in common. And her husband was actually a part of her intro video. He said hi during her intro video, which I thought was really cool. But yes, I agree with Alex that it literally felt like she was kind of lost a little bit in that intro video, but she was still entertaining. And I have to say, during the intro video, she had amazing dance moves. She did the upside down hairbrush, which is absolutely amazing. She just, I don't have, there's not much more I can say about her other than that. I wish things were different because she is somebody that I probably would have worked with had situations been different. Had I not already had my OG alliance, 4-person strong at that point. She's amazing. Love her. Hope I can play again with her in the future.
Okay, next up, unlucky or lucky number 13 is Tyler.
I'm gonna go last on this one.
Okay. Alex, do you want to go first since you've known Tyler longer than we have?
I feel like I went first on Caitlin. So if Kat doesn't want to go first, I went first last time, and I feel like I talked way too much. So
Okay,
Tamara,
I'll go.
comfortable going first. I'm happy to let you lead.
Tyler. Just a sigh. Such a disappointing end to his game. The way he carried himself his final few days that round after the double elimination. I just couldn't work with him after he criticized me for not flipping on my OG alliance. Uh, to me, that was going to be game suicide. And I think Tyler wanted to do that. And I appreciate that he is adamant and he is passionate about playing this game. I just don't appreciate his attitude at the very last second. I'm a little bit hurt that he's still calling me and Kat count of our bums and Dave too, because like I was looking at one of his comments on a Facebook post, but when Dave got voted, I think Tyler commented on it and he said like, oh yes, he was so happy that the count of our bums were being taken out. I'm like, sir, you were literally voted out almost a month ago and you're still mad about it. But again, I've been bitter too. I remember my very first org, I got swap screwed during the second swap, and the majority alliance were the tightest trio in the entirety of trios that I was a little bit stung, like having to turn on my own ally that I wanted to work with going in this game. And maybe he did want to forge a merge relationship. I'm pretty sure that he would have immediately come for me and for Kat just because neither of us flipped that very first round. Like that was our only opportunity to get like a working relationship with Tyler, but we didn't do what he wanted. So it was all hell broke loose at that point. So, and if it wasn't, and I obviously wanted Alex to stay more so, I felt like I connected with you on a deeper level, whereas Tyler just immediately wanted to into strategy, just like when I'm the type of player that I want to get to know people for who they are first. But yeah.
Kat, did you still want to go last?
No, I'll go now.
Okay.
Alex, especially if you need a minute. So Tyler, little known fact, well, maybe you guys know, but Tyler tried to pitch to me, probably the first day of the swap, that because he and I knew the same person, Antonio, that oh, I automatically would work with him. Well, I still needed a little bit of convincing to that point, but the fact that he came on so strong and he literally went after every single one of us, and then proceeded to start a group chat with all of us the day of the double elimination, and definitely threw Alex under the bus. I was like, no, 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 this is a red flag. There is something wrong with this. Because if he's willing to throw his own under the bus, he's willing to turn on any one of us. So I was like, that dude needs to go. I didn't trust him. I didn't like how he was coming at me. So he had to go, in my opinion. And I'm sure that he is a great person outside of the game, but in the game, no, there was no chance. And that's all I got to say on that subject.
So Tyler was an interesting one for me because on Sahin, he and I had a comfortable relationship with each other. When Joel was voted out, his name kept getting thrown around, and I was like, I mean, I don't have a close working strategic relationship with Tyler, but I don't see Tyler coming after me. So that's why when it was proposed to vote for Tyler, I was like, I understand how that works for people who don't want to work for Tyler, but I don't understand how voting for him works for me. So I was not part of that plan. and I deflected from that pan, much to the detriment of my own game. And I honestly didn't have much of a working relationship or even a social getting to know your relationship with Tyler. So when I found out that he had apparently said, "Hey, I'm fine voting Alex," I was neither surprised nor was I hurt. Conversely, it seems as though Tyler was relatively hurt when he got the boot, just because I feel as though Tyler has only been potentially rooting for me ever since he left, because he's still a little bit sour grapes, sour wine about his departure from Canavar 2.0. So I enjoyed Tyler. I think when I was editing the footage for the music video challenges, Tyler's footage hands down was the footage that made me laugh, made me go, the living hell am I watching? I don't even understand. Y'all didn't even see all of it. Y'all just saw the edited stuff that I put together. I thought Tyler was hilarious from that challenge. That being said, I pretty much was like, I like Tyler a lot. That being said, I wouldn't be shocked if he went after me. He did eventually go after me. So it sucks because I know Tyler wanted to be in the game. That being said, his departure basically led to me being able to continue in this game. So I adore the time and the opportunity I had to get to know Tyler. He actually, despite his blowing up about potentially being voted out and then eventually getting voted out, despite all that, Tyler actually is a very, very cool dude. And yeah, should either of us happen to be in the same city at any point in time, I'd be more than happy to buy him a beer. Tyler is cool. I wish he hadn't quite gone out in the exact blaze of anger and glory that went out in, but he was still pretty chill, at least with me. And it was a bummer that it literally had to be him or me to continue in the game. That being said, I am happy that it was him and not me. Sorry.
Tyler, no. Ty left.
Bye.
I'm sorry. I'm distracted by the dog chewing on her toy because it sounds so fucking funny. Can you hear it?
No.
No. Oh, okay. Sorry. It was really funny. Alrighty. Yes. Bye, Tyler. Actually, fun fact, I once voted out Tyler first boot in an org and we said Byler. Love Tyler. He's one of my greatest friends. Only friends can you do something like that too, and it'd be okay. But next up is 12th place and our final merger, Andrew.
Can I start this one?
Yes.
Okay. Andrew. So here's the thing about Andrew. I actually liked Andrew a lot. I thought he was hilarious. His intro video made me laugh so much. But then I found out that he actually wanted to get me out. So I was like, I'm not going to be sad if you're gone. He and Dave had to, were swapped away from us. And I was like, if I had the choice, please get rid of Andrew before Dave, because Andrew, for me personally, I think he would have flipped on all of us. I know he wanted me out, so definitely not sad that he had to leave. But I generally like the guy. He, during the scavenger hunt, literally went shirtless for most of that. Painted the whole triumph thing on his chest. Got someone to slap him in the face in public at a concert, and they were dressed like the Golden Girls. It was pretty iconic. It made me laugh so much. He did a lot for that challenge. The only with Andrew is that during the memory lane challenge, or the not memory lane, but the Azerbaijan story challenge, he forgot literally half the things I told him, which led me to want to vote him out. But
Drag him, Kat. Drag him.
Drag her.
I love Andrew. I do. I think he's a great person in general, but in the game, He wanted me out. He had to go. So I'm so glad Zaheen got rid of him. That's all I gotta say. I'm off my soapbox, I promise.
Yeah, I have to agree. Andrew was gunning for Cat boots, and it was hard to navigate strategically with someone like Andrew, somebody who it was hard for me to get a read on where he was in this game, where who was he truly working with. And I felt that I didn't really feel super close with Andrew, particularly than how I felt with people like Kat, people like Jason, people like Dave. So I'm not mad that he was the one who got sent home like post swap, because I feel like had we been on the same tribe, maybe the dynamics would have been a little bit different given where we were at in this game. So, but yeah, he's cool. He's cool. Um, he has a fiance who they've been like together for almost 5 years now. So I'm hoping that the wedding is soon. Love him. Great energy. Whenever we did get the chance to talk, even when it was so rare. But yeah, pretty okay player.
So for me and Andrew, I'm thankful that I like briefly like I didn't want rewatch the entire thing. Um when I watched Andrew's what do you call it? His intro video, I've always been fascinated by this because it used to be a thing that happened all the time on like all-star seasons of Project Runway. There was this beautifully unenthusiastic Australian woman who would say things like, I am she would say things as though she was excited about things, but the way she said it and the tone in which she said it always sounded like she wasn't excited at all. She's like, I cannot tell you how excited I am for this challenge. She'd always talk about how excited she was, despite not sounding excited at all. And from his intro video, to me, that was Andrew. And I was just like, he's like, oh yeah, I'm engaged. I'm super excited to get married. But the way that he said it, I was like, are you excited to get married? Because I feel like you're not excited to get married in the least. And so that is the only real memory I have with Andrew. Obviously, he and I, because of us not being on the same original tribe, and also not being on the same tribe after the swap. That is my lasting memory of Andrew. I am sure he is an absolutely lovely person. But for me, I just remember thinking, for a guy who's engaged, he doesn't sound that excited to be engaged. I thought that was really, really funny. So I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's very enthralled with his fiance. I'm sure he's very excited at the prospect of getting married. But just watching his video, I was like, honey, is she pregnant? Is her father holding a shotgun behind his back or your back? Because if so, blink twice, you're going to be fine. Let us know. We will get you out of there. That was my impression of Andrew. I'm sure that's not the case at all, but it was really funny to me when I watched it. So, honestly, the double tribal council round, I feel, is a large segment as to how I even made it to the merge. Had it not been a double tribal, I don't know that I would have made it had we lost another tribal. So Andrew's sacrifice kind of helped me continue in the game. So thank you, sir. Congratulations on getting married. I'm hoping sometime, if not this year, the next year. Otherwise, how long are you going to be engaged? Not my room to judge, but yes, I thought Andrew, I didn't get to meet Andrew, but I'm sure he's lovely. You're welcome, Kat. You're welcome.
Alrighty. Just a reminder that all cast members will be able to see this postseason. But next up, we have our first juror, 11th placer, Amy.
Amy.
Please, someone else go before me. I'm not doing this one.
Amy. The only jury member who I've never gotten on a phone call with. That is unfortunate because literally Miss Girl really killed it in that music video. She was an icon. She was a legend. I just wish that we got to connect more. It was, at first it was a little bit weird because I reached out to her first initially like on a one-on-one chat without adding prod, and her username came up as live.cid, and I'm like, oh hey, sorry, I don't know who this is. It just says live.cid. It's weird. And she's like, oh, like other people immediately recognized it was me. I'm like, Miss Girl, I don't understand. Like my technology's boomky at that point. I'm not sure, but
I'm
she
so sorry to interrupt. Did you just say boom key? Because if so,
boonky,
tell me what that is.
BOONKY, boonky. Like her username was just coming up as live.sid, and she was coming for me a little bit for not realizing it was her. I was like, no, no, Miss Thing, it's just my Skype not being up to par. So I wish that that we got the chance to chat, but everybody, even Alex, even all of the OG Sahin who've literally been with her since day one, didn't really get the chance to speak with her because she wasn't really that active in this org. I think maybe she just didn't really vibe with us as a cast, so that maybe she put her priorities on another org, because Kat said that she was on Rue Survivor, and she like won the battle back and was able to make it super far in this game. So I guess that's where her priorities were. I think she was an iconic first juror. Her she I don't think she had any idea that the vote would land on her. But I love that she took it with grace, and I think it set the tone for the jury of the season. That I felt that like this season, our group of people seemed more lighthearted and chill compared to last season, where it seemed the caliber of players that it just very more there was a more intensity, more people hurt by, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like this sets the vibe that this group of 11 people, we were all super chill and just seemed to have like a lot of fun joking around with each other. Um, but yeah.
Alex, please go next.
Okay. The gin has officially hit my spinal cord. So if I stop making sense, someone please tell me to stop talking. That being said, I really Amy was someone that I did not connect with. She on original Sahim, we didn't connect a lot, but I did really enjoy her. I enjoyed her very much socially. For me, the crowning moment for Amy was her contributions to the music video challenge. If anything, I'm just like, holy shoot, this girl or this woman, this beautiful, statuesque, like curvy, just physically stunning woman. I was like, wow, I wish I had talked to her more while I was on Saheen with her. If anything, yeah, she is an icon. She's beauty and she's great. She's Miss United States. I am a huge fan of Amy. Even though she and I never truly got particularly close in the game. She wanted to work with me, but I was just like, man, I want to work with Amy, but I don't know how invested she is in this game. So yeah, so that was where a lot of where my relationship with her kind of went south. And obviously I didn't vote for her to leave the game, but I feel like I don't know how important I was to her allegiance wise. Yeah, and I feel like had it not been for things going down, the idol being played, and people throwing their votes on her, I really think Amy eventually could have gained some momentum and truly done some damage in this game. And for me, I'm a huge fan. I'm a huge fan of any woman in general who plays in these games, just because we all know it's a little bit of a sausage fest, especially amongst the homosexual community. Are big fans of Survivor, Big Brother, therefore. And the fact that she, a woman in her 40s, is playing the game and actually made it to the merge, was able to any attention that she drew to herself earlier in the game, which she drew quite a lot as far as people interested in voting her. The fact that she made the merge, super impressive, super amazing. I actually hope that she and I can get to know each other better after the game. But yeah, I think she's fabulous.
All right. So I have some insight into Amy. I did play with her on the other org. She is a pretty cool person. There's a lot of things about her that I found out on the other org that kind of stuck with me, and I did actually really, really like her. However, because I was instrumental in getting her out in that one, it literally came between I need to get her out before she gets me. So I definitely drove that vote because I was like, that girl is going to come after me. She may or may not win that vote, but I was like, she's got to go. Doesn't change the fact that she is an amazing player. She made it to the final three in the other org, so she obviously did something right. And I think had she lasted longer, she probably could have done some damage. And I generally have respect for her. Nothing personal against her. I think she is an amazing person. She's got a killer story. She's on the West Coast. Um, she's an amazing person if you get to know her. But for me personally, because of the fact, like Tamara said, she never reached out to any of us on Canavar. It was an easy vote for us. We just got really lucky that it was Jason that was the vote and he played an idol successfully. But yeah, for me, it was literally the right move for me because I felt like had she lasted longer, she would have come after me. So she had to be the first vote. But she is an amazing person. I will say that.
Okay, next up we have Thiru.
Oh, Thiru. Thiru was a legend, king of being able to play these orgs while living 9.5 hours ahead of pretty much everybody. 13 hours ahead of the West Coasters. Yeah, like he's married but had no problem flirting with me. So I just think that's so iconic, so slay. Like as somebody who has had a fling with a married man in the past, sometimes you just end up in another situation with a married man. And otherwise, yeah, he's a cool person. We talked about playing video games, and that's what he's pretty cool. Has a family. Was willing to risk it all to speak to me. Literally love that for him. Like, I just love the chaos. I just love messiness. I love that. Please bring more of this energy. He played last season. It was out really early, so I'm really proud that Thiru is the is the only returnee that has made the merge and the jury. They like so proud of him because it seemed that all of the other returnees they just couldn't make it past a couple of rounds. But I also really liked how he tried to tell Jason that he wanted to target me, which is why I had no problems voting him out at the final 10.
Thiru. I generally love Thiru. He's got the cutest little boy. Um, it generally broke my heart that we had to vote him out. But, at the time, I was thinking he was the least connected on Tahine. So I didn't think it would be as big a deal to vote him out. But I generally love Thiru, and I really, really hope that we can have a friendship outside the game because I generally like the guy, and his kid is so adorable. And his intro video, amazing. I generally have so much respect for Thiru, and the top 10, literally everybody in the top 10 for me was pretty amazing. And to let any of them go was hard, but for someone that I didn't start with, Zero was pretty cool, I have to say. And as a returning player, he lasted the longest. But for me, he had to go as a returning player because, you just I think if he had gone any further, if he had gone all the way to the end, he probably would have been someone that would have won. Um, so for me, it was strategic to vote him out when we did, but I generally love the guy.
Tiru it was really, really rough because the time difference between him being in India and me being on the west coast of the US, there was not a lot of opportunity for us to simultaneously be online and available to communicate. And I absolutely hated that fact because in the conversations that I did have with Tiru, I really enjoyed getting to know him. That being said, in the Joel vote, I was very much just like I talked infinitely more with Joel than with Tiru. And so ultimately when the votes went down the way that they did, he was so understanding and he was so sweet. And I felt so awkward trying to like, hey, how do I save face with this person who I've showed my cards that he's not really in my hierarchy of importance. He could not have been sweeter. And that very easily could have just been him playing the game and him being like, let me make Alex comfortable so I can get him out later. That being said, I know the round that he was voted out, that was a very emotionally charged tribal council. It was so emotional and it was so raw and it was so every last bit that I was not expecting from an org because I had never experienced anything like that in my life, let alone in an online version of Survivor. I know I had my moment where I literally was just like, I don't know what to say because I don't want to cry on camera, and it's streaming to Facebook. I don't want any of this. And the fact that he was just like the fact that he encouraged me, even though he was in the hot seat of possibly going home. Like Tiro is just such a sweetheart, and I know that like his family met adversity not long before he was voted out, and the fact that he didn't utilize any reason to lash out at anyone or to potentially what's the word I'm looking for? The fact that he was just such an amazing person, he was so sweet, literally all the way until he was voted out. To me, if there was a class act award of Triumph season 4 Azerbaijan, I don't know who it could go to if it wasn't Tiru. I can't say nice enough or more complimentary things enough to him. I just appreciate him as a person, and that's regardless of whether however the final tribal council votes fall. I really just think the world of him, and should I happen to find myself in India or if he happens to find himself in Las Vegas, I'd be more than happy to split a beer with him and just exchange life stories. I just think he's an absolutely stellar stand-up person. And I love that we're able to see some international representation in the cast. I'd love to see more of that. The fact that he just is who he is. I can't say more complimentary things of him, even when it was like, hey, sorry about how the vote went pre-swap. And even if he was just saving face just to vote me out later, he could not have been any more sweet or genuine, or it felt genuine or nice. I just think the world of Tiru. I wish him nothing but the best in his life. And I hope that everything going on with this family, his family did meet with some significant adversity during the course of the game. I hope that he and his family are okay. Nothing but love.
Okay. Next up is 9th place, Esteban.
Kat, can you start?
Yeah. Esteban, he didn't do anything wrong. he shouldn't have gotten out here. He was somebody that I really loved in the game, and it was really emotional having to be a part of that vote because he was definitely not the original plan, and I loved him so much, and we had such a bond, and I generally love the guy, and I hope to all God that we can be friends after this game because Esteban is somebody that meant so much to me, and had it not gone the way that it did on live night, I don't really know what else to say about Esteban other than I generally love him. Um, he has I'll maintain that he has the most killer dance moves. He proved that when we did the video challenge. Um, he is generally a good person, and during the epic travel council that we just talked that Alex just spoke of, he's so brave, and for somebody so young, he is so accomplished, and I think the world of him, and I wish things had gone different for him, and I generally love the guy. So I really hope that we can be friends after this game is over. I can't go any further because I'm gonna cry.
Agreed, Kat. I loved Esteban. I loved working with Esteban. He has such a kind soul, a kind heart, and he's so driven. I think it's wonderful that he works in education because it's so important. And I think that he has a really cool upbringing, being from the Philippines and living in Indonesia to moving to North Dakota, the most obscure state of all states in the US. So he's just he's just super cool, and like one of the reasons why I have been watching Stranger Things season 4 because I was just so inspired by his Stranger Things themed uh, graduation party that I just thought it was super cute. I think he's lovely. Unfortunately, he just became too much of a huge threat, and after winning a challenge, finding an idol, playing an idol, it just felt like all eyes were on Esteban, and everybody else realized that there are so many big threats that Esteban was like the first casualty of the big threats execution of and it was really sad because I did want to work with him for the long term. Unfortunately, Dave Dave becoming Dave 2.0 really sunk Esteban and subsequently Jason's game. And Kat and we had to make sure that our names weren't out there. Alex had to do to make Alex had to do what he needed to do to make sure that his name wasn't out there, even though we all wanted to save him at that final 9 tribal. But yeah, I love him. Love you, Esteban.
I thought Esteban out of the Canavar individuals after the swap, to me, the one that I felt that I had the least connection with would have been Esteban. That being said, what an absolute icon. What a legend. What a player. Like nothing but respect. I could tell relatively. I was like, I think Esteban's game, I don't think he's particularly worried about how I improve his game, how I hinder his game. I did not particularly feel the love, but I also understood because I was swapped into a minority, and I understood with Canavar having 6 people to the original Saheen 8, it made nothing but sense. So no sour grapes, no resentment, absolutely nothing. Esteban was an absolute legend. I like the fact that he won the first individual immunity challenge. Holy crap, my shoulders were still sore for days. I'm used to being sore like after a workout if I haven't worked out in a while. I'm used to 2 days after my whatever muscle group I'm working is sore and maybe mildly sore the next day. 4 consecutive days where I was ready to have my arms and shoulders completely chopped off. Esteban did the damn thing. He won that challenge. He found an immunity idol. He played it successfully.
An
What?
idol that took him 4 days to find, by the way.
What?
An idol that took him 4 days to find.
I
So
believe that. No, Esteban is an absolute icon, an absolute legend. Even though he and I strategically were not necessarily on the same page for the majority of the time that we were in the game together, I think the world of him. His submissions, I feel like I forgot to say this about Tyler, but if anyone was going to give Tyler a run for their money as far as submissions for the music video challenge, if anyone was going to give Tyler a run for his money, it was Esteban. Esteban's clips were so good, were so raw, and so entertaining. I just think the world of him. And regardless of how he votes, regardless of how it is, hopefully he has no bitter grapes. And if he does, it's everyone's right to feel exactly how they feel. I think Esteban is our little sweet, little spicy nugget. I think he is absolutely fabulous. And kudos to him for playing the game the way that he played the game. I did not want to see him go when he left the game. Sadly, there were enough people who disagreed with me, and he had to go. So, Esteban, whenever you watch this, know you are loved, you are respected, you are an absolute icon. You are wonderful. Like, seriously, if they were to ask us who we think should be in an all-star season or who should be brought back for a season, without question, you are on that list. I think you're fabulous. Thank you for being a part of this season. Thank you for being part of the journey. You're amazing.
Yep.
yeah.
He loved you, Alex, by the way. He wanted to save you.
I thought he was the one person who didn't want to save me on Canavar 2.0.
No, that's the next one.
Well, shall we get to it?
I don't know if I'm ready for the next one. I don't know if I'm going to say anything salty or bitter. It's going to be a place. I don't know if I'm ready. You ladies can lead the charge, and I will try and shut up and not say anything.
I will go first. This one.
Next up is our final victim of Live Night, Jason.
Jason, oh my god. Okay.
Hello.
I'm gonna go first on this one only because I have a lot to say about this one. And yeah.
I'm kidding.
I just want to get it over with. Okay, so Jason, from day one, I thought that Jason was gonna be my best ally in the game. However, as the course of the game went, it became very clear to me that he was not in my best interest to move forward with. I was very loyal to Canavar. I would have never turned on Canavar had it not been for a couple instances. With Jason, our dynamic was very interesting. Generally loved the guy, but we just kind of drifted apart as the game went forward, and he kept something from me, and from that point on, I realized I couldn't trust him anymore. And when the time came to get him out, I was definitely 100% on board for that, because he lost my trust. And I wish it wasn't the case because I wanted to go to the end with him from day one. However, when certain situations came up with Jason, it obviously was not going to work out. And I had to make a decision, and I had to be a part of his vote out, unfortunately. But Jason, I love you. When this game is over, I hope we can actually still have a friendship, because You are an amazing person. Generally love you, but some things in the game obviously just it couldn't continue. And but all the respect in the world, love you. That's all I have to say about you right now, because if I go any further, I'm going to be on a soapbox for an hour.
I agree. Jason, love him as a person. As a player, I was scared of Jason. Jason could have literally been easily sitting where we are sitting right now. And by telling me something, his telling me about it, I just thought, is he close? How well is he close with everybody in this game? So to open up to Kat about Jason's antics, it just created a brand new dynamic in this game that I think changed the trajectory of this game. And he and I had a pretty solid working relationship since the beginning of this game, yet has been very quick to interrogate other people, like especially like on our OG sides. Like I'm pretty sure he's come to us and pretty much interrogated all of us, and it made all of us pretty scared to work with Jason moving forward. That after Esteban going, it just naturally made sense to take out Jason after Esteban, to take out those two initial big threats of the merge. That and it was really scary. It was really scary because I wasn't sure if OG Sahin was gonna decide to stay loyal to each other at the final seven, and that been a it could have been really risky for Kat at me and Dave's games. Maybe it could have been one of us at the final seven. So I'm really glad that all of us banding together to vote out Jason and Esteban was what made this game shift from being completely solid on tribal lines to blurring those lines. And I think we can partially thank Dave 2.0 for that. Yeah, I guess the egg came after the chicken. But love you, Jason.
Alrighty. Next up. Oh wait, did you
Oh,
have?
wait. I never spoke about
I'm so
Jason,
sorry.
and
Not gonna
you're
lie, I'm
fine.
ignoring you guys. Because I'm texting people on Discord, but I can't go back now. Anyway, talk about Jason, Alex. Ignore the picture. It's Jason.
How very dare you? That being said, that's understandable. That being said, I'll try.
This is long. I'm sorry. I have messages. I'm not a player. I don't care what you guys think.
I know I'm a man in a dress, but my opinion still matters about Jason. So, I'll try and keep it short and sweet since Steve's picture's up and now it's awkward. That being said, Jason is actually someone who I'm like, I understand that I have a very big personality. And to me, Jason also has a very big personality. And that's what attracted me to trying to work with him on Canavar 2.0. That being said, I very much with very little interaction with Jason, I was like, this man is trying to get as many fingers as he can into as many pies as he can. And while I don't begrudge that, because that's the game of Survivor, for me, I was just very much just like, no, but really, I understand that you want to be everyone's best friend so that no one votes you out. That being said, the route in which you are going to try and make that happen is not the route to effectively make that happen. And as much as I enjoy Jason as a person, if I happen to find myself in New York or if he happens to be in Vegas, I would love to grab a beverage with Jason just because I feel like he and I have so much in common. I feel like he is such a tour de force as far as org goes. But yeah, it was interesting seeing how upset he would get when it was like, hey, I've ignored all the Sahin minority all day and I haven't communicated with them. The fact that he got so upset that we ultimately ended up throwing our votes on him, I was like, no, but really, we wanted to work with you. We wanted to talk with you. You ignored all of us. And now you're upset that we voted for you. I struggle with the logic. So I appreciate Jason as a human being within this game. Very quickly, I was like, I like you, but unless working with you is absolutely paramount to my game, if people are willing to vote for you, I'm willing to vote for you as well. So I like Jason as a person, 120%. As a player, he was just really good at what he did, which is why I was like, I appreciate you. I love you. Can't wait to share a beer in Vegas or New York, but you gotta go. So
And now we have Steve.
Yes, sorry. And by the way, guys, it takes me a minute to unmute every single time because it's like it hides on my computer and it doesn't show up. I don't know how to work Zoom. But yes, we have
Hives on your computer.
what?
Hives on your computer.
Hives?
Did you say hives on your
No.
computer?
I don't think so. I'm confused. I'm starting to get high too, guys. Don't confuse me. But yes, we've
let's
been
not
looking
confuse
at
me. We're talking about Steve now.
yes, I have questions. So yes, now it's Steve who got 7th place. Now you guys can all talk about Steve as much or as little as you want.
Steve.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, Spare.
Go ahead. No, you can go first because I went first last time.
No,
wait,
actually, I
Okay.
Steve, I'll take the lead on Steve. Steve, love the guy. We have so many things in common, like poker. But you know, with Steve, he was a very, very sneaky. I didn't know if I could trust the guy. Um, ultimately, he's a really nice person. I think outside the game, I think we would get along really well for the simple fact that we both like poker. But Steve, that was the first time that both sides were unanimous on your vote out. And it speaks to the fact that you were definitely a big threat. You caused a little bit of chaos, but I generally love you. For the first time you've ever played an org, you did phenomenally making it to the merge. Very impressed by that. I couldn't even do that in my first season, so kudos to you, buddy. You are somebody that I would love to talk to outside of this game. But yes, when it came up where you had to go, sorry, dude. Love you. Again, amazing. I think if things had been different, you know, maybe we could have worked together, but there just was no path forward with you. I didn't want to lie to you, which is why I had to cut off communication with you at some point. But generally, outside of the game, would love to get to know you more. You're awesome.
Yeah, Steve was really cool, kind-hearted. I think maybe he flirted with like a lot of the players here, so you know, just like me for real. And he had such an amazing. He's just a great sport, and especially like Kat said, his first org, getting all the way to the final 7 is an impressive feat. I could never. So love Steve, love his energy. Strategically, I think that he just got caught up, really focused on wanting to take out Malkin, wanting to take out Dave, and it just felt like none of like nobody wanted to work with him all the way to the end because strategically everybody felt that it was best in their best interest to take him out over other people. And I think maybe it could have been like a group think type situation where we all were like, okay, if it's like we're all if it as long as it ain't me, we all adopted a strategy like that at the final 7, and Steve was the casualty to that. Just I'm he's just like fun to be around. It was fun. It was fun like getting on calls with him, strategizing, but knowing that I had no intentions of keeping him around for the long run. And I think that he has the potential to really perfect his strategy and could actually get to the end and win.
I really appreciated Steve. Even in early Saheen, I was like, oh, he's gonna be Messica Chastain. Like he very, very much was just like it was very obvious he was trying to put his fingers in as many pies and as many pots as possible. And I'm like, from a survivor standpoint, I understand that. I respect that. That's not the way I play the game, but I respect that's the way he wanted to play the game. That being said, I really, really like Steve as a person. As a player, I very much was just like, I want a road to the final or to the finale that includes Steve. But holy goodness, whether it's Messica Chastain, Messica Lang, Messica Alba, Steve really just went all in a way that I feel like had he thrown a little bit more chill into the way he was approaching the game, I truly feel he could have gone farther than final 7. That being said, he alienated a lot of people just by throwing lots of people under the bus. And it really was just one of those situations where I'm like, I think you're great as a player, but holy shit, I need you to put the pipe down and just be. And he just chose not to. And it very much was just kind of like, I'm really sorry. That being said, keeping you in the game is officially causing harm to my game. So, uh, so I actually really, really like Steve. I feel like the first real question he asked about me was whether or not I was single. And I was just like, okay, sir, here's the thing. You're one of the more attractive people in the cast. And I've asked you, I got to the point where I'm like, I could probably write like a middle school level book report about Steve based on what he's told me. And I don't even know if he knows my last name. So Steve very much was very, very strategy game, very oriented that way, but building relationships that made people not weary of how kind of sketchy he was, I think is ultimately what led to his demise in the game. That being said, should he happen to find himself in Vegas and wanting to buy me a drink, I will happily meet him somewhere. That being said, I very much feel like anytime he flirted with me, felt very much how he flirted with probably a significant amount of the cast. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe I'm his main attraction as far as fellow castaway goes. But I feel like Steve was very, very much all about how do I advance myself in the game, and sadly, he wasn't the greatest at masking, if not downplaying that fact. So I think the world of Steve. I would love to share a beer with them. Should we happen to be in the same city? If it happens, great. If not, Steve as a person, great. Steve as a player, whoa, he made a lot of enemies without really trying. So
He believed, she lied.
Stop.
Steve.
Stop. We all went for Steve, yes. You know, I think Alex needs to stop going last because by the time Alex is done, I forget if the other two went.
So here's the trick. That is the most polite way of saying that Alex is really long-winded, which is perfectly unoffensive because I talk a lot. That being said, yes, all 3 of us have talked about Steve.
Thank you so much. Daddy Dave. Alex, go
ET.
first.
I was literally about to run to the bathroom because I've had so much water to drink because I was trying so hard.
It's fine. It's fine. I'm kidding. Somebody
Oh,
else can go
fine,
first.
go
I'm
first.
not forcing you to.
No, you're fine. I don't mind going first because then when the ladies go, I can take the computer with me and listen to that. Yeah, while I'm doing this. Dave was such an enigma because come merge, the only person in the game I knew absolutely nothing about was Dave, which was both beneficial because I had relationships everywhere but him. But yeah, I feel like both Dave and I were like, there's one person in the game I have not been in a tribe with, so how do we do anything involving strategy, involving day one stuff, involving swap stuff? And it was very, very interesting because going into the merge, neither Dave nor myself were really anybody's targets that I'm aware of. So it very much was just kind of like a hi person who got swap screwed and is still at the merge. Hi, welcome. Nice to see you back at you. Here we are. What do we do? And the closest thing I could have to a criticism about Dave is just where do we go from here? And I don't know if it's because Dave was just too damn good at the game. I like to think I'm okay at the game. But yeah, Dave, for whatever reason, was highlighted as a threat more so than me. And it could have been immunity challenge win since I didn't win one till the final four. I think Dave is a very, very stand-up guy. I enjoyed our conversations, but it really was he and I both were just kind of like in a position where it's like, well, you're literally the only person I have no relationship with prior to the merge. And I think that's definitely something that we tried to navigate, we tried to do things with, and literally up until he left, I really enjoyed Dave. I had no problems with Dave, but ultimately it was just kind of like there's only 6 people left, and you and I have had zero. We had strategic talks. We definitely talked about looking out for each other, but it really was just kind of like there's only literally outside of you, there's only 4 people left in the game, and I'm really connected and really, really close to those 4 people. So ultimately, from what I gather, Dave wanted me out, which is perfectly understandable because I wanted him out for the exact same reasons I feel. And I definitely appreciated Dave as a person, and I definitely, since we're literally only one state line away, should I be in the Hollywood area or he be in the Vegas area, happy to split a beer, happy to hang out. But yeah, I was a little bit sad that he and I ultimately did not connect more so strategically and game wise. But also I'm just that person where I was like, where we're at seems to work for him. Should it come to a point where I want to vote for him, that's okay for me. And that's really just how it broke down. And ultimately he left. How dare he vote for me, which he did. And that's fine too. I think Dave would have absolutely crushed almost anybody in the final 3 had he made it there. So as much as it really sucked and as much as I did not enjoy voting Dave out. That being said, the fact that he voted for me, and also because he was such a threat to win the game, I appreciate him as a human being. I'm not upset. Meg, to your question, yes. I'm about to mute myself and turn off my camera so that my bladder can actually get some relief. So yes, thank you for the question. Dave, you're amazing. Hope we can hang out. Hopefully we can chill after the game. If not, no worries. Mwah. I have to go relieve my bladder because I'm in a dress and I have a pee.
Tamara, please go.
Tamara, cat, go ahead.
Yeah. Kat, are you here? Kat? Hello?
I also
Kat, I can't see you.
I know.
Y'all
'Cause
decided
I'm
to come
all
to this drink
for it.
in. Okay. Your choice.
Tamara, I'm in the bathroom. You please go.
Wait, so I should go?
Yes, please.
Okay. Dave. Daddy Dave. Deluxe Dave. The sixth placer Dave. Dave destroyed his own game by morphing into Dave 2.0. Dave, I just 2 years and nothing's changed. Same old cool guy. Like you're literally like the older version of me, but like I'm a male. And I just feel like I'm so glad that he wasn't pissed at me for blindsiding him 2 years ago. I'm never gonna let that go. And I just think it was really sweet of him to really care for me and Kat. And I'm so glad that he was more closely aligned to me than to people like Jason, like Esteban. And we're pretty solid working together for the first half of the merge, even though I knew eventually I wanted him to go because he's just so likable. He's so kind. Uh, he was the most likely person to be on an actual Survivor season, and I think that's true. Like, dude is literally working on a Rick and Morty editing. He edits like for Rick and Morty, which is I just think that's so cool. Like, I don't really watch Rick and Morty, but the fact that I just feel like I'm talking to a celebrity, and that's why he was just on everyone's radar for being a big threat. That ultimately his paranoia and his overthinking was what led to his demise at the final six. Uh, because originally he wanted to he wanted to take out Alex, and I didn't want to take out Alex. I would rather keep Alex than to vote him out over someone like Brian. And unfortunately, Brian caught wind of a possible 222, switched his vote, and ended up voting for Dave, which is like I'm glad that I didn't have to do the dirty work of sending Dave home because I wanted him to go home, and because we were all scared of Brian's idol and Brian's relationship to Malkin. And I can't believe that of all of the people in that alliance between us four, that I was the one to outlast all of them. And Dave just happened to be the first casualty. And, but yeah, I think I'm so happy that he kind of like changed the game by metamorphosizing at the final nine. Uh, it might have sucked for him, but it was really good for me, Kat, and Alex. So thank you. Thanks, Daddy Dave. Love you always.
Okay, Dave. Love you, Dave, so much. You were somebody from the beginning that I wanted to go to the end with. Always had my back. You kept my name out of the vote. Love you for that. You gave me a lot of encouragement before you went out. I'll never forget you for that. If you had just voted with me and Tamara, maybe things would have been a little bit different. I don't know, but I generally love you. When you were swapped away, it was so hard because I generally felt closer to you, especially from day one, and it was really torturous having you leave. We had a phone conversation the day we merged, right after we merged when we got you back, and you know, I have nothing but respect for you. I missed you so much during the swap, but it just it ended up being right for my game that you went when you did. Had it not been at final six, it would have been at some point before the final, but you were definitely a force to be reckoned with. You're amazing. You had so many fans too, based on the Facebook post, but you're amazing, Dave. And I hate things ended up the way it did. I maintain that I never wrote your name down, but not entirely sad that you went when you did. It was ultimately strategic for my game. So love you, Dave. We're gonna be friends for life after this game.
Okay, I do believe that was all three for Dave. So next up, two left, guys. We can do it. I know we're tired. We have fifth placer Malkin.
Malcomic-Con. That's my nickname for him because he's just that guy that that just super lovable. Like he's like a teddy bear. He's literally like the sweetest human being. Like how can you not love Malkin? And that's why he couldn't get to the end because he would have just charmed all of us into voting for him. And I just think that he has he's just like so inspiring to me as a person, as somebody who like also relates to being a nerd, being a geek. um I just feel like it was really nice, and even though like we did strategize with each other, it was just to save face because ultimately I knew that eventually he was going to target me, and he did. He voted for me at the final five, and I'm glad that he went because I wanted to Malkin to go. I knew from like the minute, probably around like the final 10, I realized Malkin's actually really good at this game. He's such a huge social threat. And the thing is that it seems like immunities were curses. So I think when Malkin just won that, not skull, Brian won that. He won the final six immunity challenge. And he eventually got the immunity challenge curse. So I guess the lesson is if you win an immunity pre-final four, you will go home. So Malkin, I think had you maybe not turned on Dave, maybe it would have been a way different outcome because maybe you and Dave could have like forged a new working relationship and somehow got Brian to side with each other and take out Kat, and I had Alex win at the final six. And I just think that overall a great a great person, just a great human being. Love his Tony the Tiger looking stuffy. I just love that about him. Love all of his hats. Love that he's super into Pokemon. Love that he's a fan fiction writer. I'm definitely a sucker for fan fiction. I just like think highly of Malkin. Yeah.
Love the guy. Malkin was very obsessed with my cat Buster. He always wanted to see cat pictures. We checked in on the regular. We never taught game. Um, so that was unfortunate, but Malkin is somebody that I could see myself being friends with for a long time after this game. It just didn't work out in the game itself. But I have mad respect for Malkin, and I don't really have much else to say at this point, but other than I love you, Malkin, and I hope we can be friends. Alex, on to you.
Okay, so this one's actually very, very tough for me at least, because as a man currently sitting with his legs crossed in a dress, Malkin was 120% someone that I appreciated, someone that I respected, someone that I genuinely wanted to work with in the game. And literally night one, after the tribe chat, and then after we had like after a game chat between both tribes, and then we had a tribal chat. Malkin and I kind of inadvertently, for me it was inadvertent, maybe it wasn't for Malkin, I don't think it was, but we stumbled into how do I describe this? We stumbled onto a conversation about critical race theory, and for me, I had never experienced that, I had never anticipated that, and I had no, what's the word I'm looking for? I had no way to channel that. He and I talked about, critical race theory in regards to not only Survivor as a show, but also the way people vote within the org community. And for me, I was like, so here's the trick. Even if I'm the first person voted out of the game, the fact that I could just have a conversation like this with someone in the game is something I did not expect, something I did not ask for. And the fact that it did happen, I was like, this actually is very, very significant. And this is actually very, very impactful. And I got very, very emotional on night one because I did not expect that to happen. So I don't know, on original Sahin, I don't know that I would have had that experience with anybody else. And so while I absolutely appreciate Malkin as a human being, as an entity, as a player within this game, there, me being me, I'm that person who's like, well, to a certain extent, there is a level of, is this game, is it not? But in that moment, I very much was just like, I don't think this is game. I really just think that Malkin is open-minded to have this conversation and is willing to flesh out this conversation. And for me, that was very, very impactful. And that's what attracted me to Malkin literally from night one. Unfortunately, he seemed very, very committed to playing the game in a way that benefited Brian. And for me, literally from the merge, I was like, I think Brian is a phenomenal person. That being said, I'm not playing this game to help Brian get to the end. I'm not playing this game to help Brian win. And for me, at various moments, levels, whatever you want to call it, within the game, it seemed like Malkin was particularly committed to Brian. And for me, I was just like, I adore you as a human being. I love you as a player. As long as our interests align, I want us to work together. And eventually it just got to the point where I was just like, all these things are still true, but I'm not risking my game. I'm not throwing my game away. I'm not doing anything to help Brian win this game, which it just feels like he's inherently going to do. And so, as much as I adore Malkin, and as much as I really, really hope we will continue the foundation and improve the foundation that we worked upon working together, for me, I was just like, you seem way too committed to help the biggest threat in the game make it to the end. And I just cannot co-sign on that logic. So yeah, voting on Malcolm was absolutely, it was a gut check. It was a fist to the solar plexus. I think the world of Malkin, but I was just like, no, but really, you want to go, if not all the way to the end with Brian, you want to go close enough to the game, close enough to the end of the game with Brian in a way that makes me go, I don't like my odds trying to beat Brian in a final 5, final 4 situation, which is ultimately what made me turn on Malkin, which I hated, but it is what it is. Obviously, I could have just, been okay with anything and ultimately beat Brian in the final four anyway. I don't know who's keeping track of things, but here we are. But yeah, that was. I feel like I'm a colossal run-on sentence at this point, so I'm gonna shut up. That being said, if anyone's gonna win player of the season and it wasn't gonna be Brian, in my mind, it would be Malkin. Malkin was a superior social game player, and I recognized that very early into the game. And I was like, as long as our interests align, I'm perfectly fine with working with Malkin, even though I feel like he could beat me in the end. But ultimately, he seems so committed to helping Brian get, if not to the final three, then close enough to the final three that did not align with my interests. And that's why, sadly, when Brian won immunity, Malkin had to go. So that's it.
Did everybody go?
Yes.
I'm so high. Alrighty.
Proud of
Last
you.
juror and fallen angel of Triumph Azerbaijan is Mr. Brian Spencer. Take it away, guys.
Y'all gotta go first because I have to be last on this one.
Alex, could you go first?
I will happily go first. I knew as early as the Louise vote that Brian was the person to beat in of the Sahine tribe. I obviously didn't know anything about Canavar. Of the Sahines, to me, I was very, very quick to be like, this bitch doesn't necessarily need to go, but at a certain point, I don't need this person anywhere near the final three. Anywhere near the final three. I was very quick to pick up on that. And it was just interesting because so many people just really, really seem to get their life in this game by lapping the nectar from Brian's testicles. And for me, I was that person who was like, no, this is the biggest threat. I don't know about Canavar. As far as Sahine goes, Brian is the biggest threat in this game. I have zero questions about this. I have zero doubts about this. If Brian makes it to the end, Brian wins. And the most frustrating part of this game, start to finish, was trying to figure out who was aware that Brian was the strongest competitor, the most strategic, the most likely to win if he made it to the end. And for me, it's nothing from a gameplay standpoint, it is nothing but respect. 120%. I knew he was going to be tough to beat. I knew he was going to be strong. The fact that he won the round one individual immunity challenge, I was like, oh, he's good at challenges. He's super social. Everybody loves him. This is the person to beat. Brian was the Malkin from Philippines. Brian needed to go. And the most frustrating part of this game was trying to figure out who else recognized the fact that as lovable, as amazing, as talented, as challenge-worthy as Brian was, he was the single biggest threat to everybody's game, and trying to figure out anybody who aligned with my logic on that was the single most strategically frustrating part of this game. Because I knew if Brian made it to the end, it was going to be very, very difficult for Brian to lose to anyone. And I know that people disagree with me on this. I don't care. So Brian is amazing. To me, my initial response to Brian was, Brian could win $1 million or his apartment could be on fire. And I feel like he would react in the exact same way. And that's the kind of player you need to be absolutely wary of. And the number of people who did not seem concerned about Brian but me was single-handedly what made this game for like a round and a half, 2 rounds, so frustrating, because I was like, I swear to God, if people hand him a final 3 spot, I will just lose my cool. So Brian was absolutely the most well-rounded, most strategic, most intimidating challenge-wise, Brian was it. So I'm just like, if there's a fans versus favorites, Brian's in. If there is a game changer, it's Brian's in. If there is anything, Brian is going to come back into the series because Brian literally was the most well-rounded player in this game. And that is why, for me, very quickly, I was like, he needs to go. So nothing but respect for the kid, nothing but love for the way he played this game. He was strategic. He was this may sound condescending, or this may sound negative. He was the most manipulative. He was the player to beat. So the fact that I was able to win the immunity challenge the round that he went, if I still lose this game, which is absolutely possible, I will happily still take that crown because he was the person destined to win this game, literally from the jump. And the fact that I was able to take away that final immunity from him just feels delicious. So, Brian, you're amazing. Should you make it to Vegas, happily we'll buy you a beer and talk about what a dominating game that you played. That being said, I'm not upset you left, not upset you got voted out. Peace and love. Bye.
Yeah, how do you top that? Well, you said basically my thoughts on Brian. Big threat for sure. Was going to win it all had he got to the end. He was the person to beat. He was so good. He was so chill too. And that's the thing that was what made it scary, was that he's just an incredibly likable young guy. He won so many immunities, found an idol, was interconnected with pretty much everybody in the game. And even to me, I was born with two bladders, LMAO. I just love Brian as a person. My sister's like watching me talk about this, so like, hey, uh, oh, thank you. What a sweetheart. I love my family. Brian, I I can't believe that you almost had it. You were one immunity away from like pretty much winning the entire game, because we all knew you were going to win that game, and we didn't want to let you take a seat at the final tribal council. And I'm so glad that at the final five you didn't play your idol on Malkin. I'm so glad that you played it on Cat, because that was literally the game-changing move, that by taking out your closest ally in Malkin, who literally would have gone to the end with you, just is just icing on the cake. Because that it's sad, because had you not done it, you probably would have sat at the very end if you just saved Malkin, let me go home. So I'm really glad that you didn't. I loved all the times that we played Fortnite together. It was so much fun. I loved how we would always lose each time, and then like the last time we played Fortnite together, we won. So I just like, at some point I did really consider taking you to the end, just because we both have that, oh, you're the youngest guy, I'm the youngest woman in this cast. But it would just been self-sabotage to my game, taking you to the end. I don't think I would have beat you. I think you would have beat everybody who's still here, because you are just a well-rounded person, not only in the game, but also in school. Like, I'm so glad that you're about to finish your undergrad for your major, and I'm just so proud of Brian for the game he played. But yeah, definitely had to go.
Okay, Brian. Love you. I definitely use my experience, my life experience, to kind of, albeit get inside your head just a little bit. But it was my biggest move of the game, getting you to play your idol on me. Not gonna lie, not going to regret that decision to have that conversation with you. Had we had a conversation earlier in the game, maybe things would have been different. But you waited until Final Five to propose to deal with me, which I used to my advantage to get you to play the idol on me over Malkin. But generally think you are just a legend, just like the other two are saying. Can't be said enough. If you had gotten to the end, you definitely would have won. I would have hoped that I would have had a little bit of a chance against you, but God only knows, no idea. But I just didn't want to chance it. And at the end of the day, ATC all the way. We had to get you out when we did. I'm just thankful that we all outlasted you in the end, and you had to go. I'm so sorry, Brian. You definitely would have deserved the win had you got there, but sadly you had to go before you got there. So
You're a better
kudos to you. You're a legend.
you're a better person than me. You're like, oh, I'm sad you had to go, or I'm sad that we had to vote you out. I'm not, but I'm also an
Well,
person, so
he's a good kid. I hated that I had to manipulate him and whatever, but you know what? It was my best move of the game, so I'm not gonna apologize for that. He had to go when he did, because we literally tried for three rounds to get him out, and it finally happened. And sorry, Brian, we love you. Really, you're a legend.
Legend boots.
absolutely legend the house down boots. But also, who would have guessed that the one thing that would take out the biggest competition threat in this game was holding up a bunch of solo cups? What?
Wonky cups.
Questions.
Wonky ass cups.
Definitely.
So, wow. I can't believe that we went through all of the eliminated castaways. This was a beautiful experience to that I'm so glad to have shared with you, Alex, and with you, Kat. And I'm just so glad that production put in so much time and effort into that beautiful PowerPoint presentation.
I
Uh,
agree.
um, and I feel cathartic getting to just reflect back on the entire season to see everybody who has fallen before us. And I'm just so glad that we got to pay a homage to everyone's tenacity, drive, and passion for this season.
Yep.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Cheers. My drink's in the other room because I've had way too much.
I was gonna say I'm the only person who's drinking apparently, and apparently
Oh,
drinking some more.
I am so far gone right now. I will gladly get my glass.
I'll partake in drinking right now. I didn't want to be drunk for the rites of passage because when I'm drunk, it's hard for me to compose myself. But
You don't say. I'm just kidding. I love you guys. Thank you so much for doing the rites of passage tonight. I'm going to stop the recording now.
Oh.
Yes, but thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.